doubling versus
Okay.
gold, you know. Uh, anyway, I think we're sitting on a tender box. It's technically definable, and that spread is very important because it was that spread breakout, similar situation we have now, pending, that occurred back in 79, 5 months before you quadrupled, and occurred in starting in September 2010 before you doubled in a half in the next 6 months. We have the
Got it.
same technical situation, the tinderbox, in other words. It's set up. And when we run momentum of that spread, not just the spread itself, but run it against like a 10-month average and we plot it as an oscillator, you're at the breakout level right now. You're pushing right at the final threshold level. So momentum usually leads, in this case, the spread. So we're about as highly convinced as we've ever been on any market move that this is about to happen. We're waiting on that trigger level. And I think it's probably going to occur this coming month or this month. Well, as you said, they had a massive run. I mean, look at what like GDX did over the last 5 months. Off the page, nothing in the stock market matched that.
Right.
Okay. And naturally, they take a breath. I mean, like GDX, the 2011 high, I think was 60 something, mid 60s. We went up to 80 in a heartbeat, and we pulled back into the high 60s. I think right now we're around 70 something. I mean, give it a break, okay?
Mhm.
Silver, same story. It's been outperforming gold at least over the prior 5 months or so, not over the last couple of years, and surged massively. Percent-wise, it went from the mid 30s to 53. Boom,
Mhm.
so it has a sharp pullback, fine. In fact, most of that pullback occurred a few weeks ago, and since then it's just been doing this. So it's not really correcting anymore. It's in fact, we're about to put out a short-term technical report on silver, not focused on the big picture, but just what's going on right now. And it's basing. When we run weekly momentum, day by day action against the 3 week average or a 15-day average of weekly momentum, it's built a base. Whereas you look at the momentum chart and say, hey, that's a base. You don't see it on the price chart, but you see it on momentum. And it wouldn't take but, 0.5% or so above where you're trading right now to close out tomorrow or any day next week. And the momentum says, okay, you're going up out of here. Okay, if
Mhm.
it's in the way you think about it. Pardon me, there's a lot of idiot investors out there. People who buy late, they don't believe it until it does something outstanding. Well, so silver took out the prior highs of 50 bucks, 50 bucks in a massive run. They weren't in there then. Okay. It gets out above 50. They say, oh, I got to buy that. Okay. Well, after what, 5 months of verticality, then now they're going to join in. It's appropriate you should bag them. Okay.
Mhm.
At least for a short term. Teach them a lesson. Don't buy late. Buy at
Right.
appropriate times. And don't judge the market by the fact that you're losing money because you bought late. Okay. Uh, anyway, I think it's about over. Silver drop. I think it's ready to go back up, and I think you're likely to see that either tomorrow or next week sometime. You'll see an upturn that's sufficient to say, "Oh, back up," um, and then game's on again. But we can get into it in a minute if you want to. But there's a bigger metric in play here to watch rather than silver price or gold price.
Let's talk about that. What's the bigger metric that you're looking at, the bigger
Okay,
indicator?
it's the silver versus gold situation, the performance. Well, both of them have been going up. We had a big surge in both in 2020. Okay.
Hmm.
Silver like doubled from 15 to 30, and gold went up 40, 50%. Silver beat gold during that surge. But ever since a peak spread reading between silver and gold in 2021, I think it was January, silver performance has declined relative to gold. They've both gone up, both have been very rewarding. But silver hasn't matched the percent gain that gold has produced since that point in time. But when you examine the spread chart, it's like it's price versus price. We divide an ounce of silver to an ounce of gold, express it as a percent. And there is a very clear ceiling that this spread chart, this relative performance chart, has built since last 3 years. Bangs at a certain level, backs off, hits a certain level, backs off, comes back up near that certain level again, with intent. It's right now the silver divided into gold is worth about 1.2%. Okay. You get much over 1.3% and the lid comes off. You'll then silver will rush to the upside in relative performance terms. And anytime this has happened before, two prior major examples were in the last 6 months of the run up to the April 2011 peak in silver around 50. It turned up in September of 2010 versus gold. Spread chart broke out. And that's when silver went berserk. It went up 2.5-fold. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, we're at $50 area. You want to go up 2.5-fold? You know, in other words, you want to double or so? Okay, it could be well over 100. Okay, and
Yeah.
if you match the 79 move, you'd be 200. Okay, now
Yeah.
there's other reasons. And again, the signal indicator that warned at those times that something berserk was going to happen was the spread chart.
Really?
Yep, it wasn't the fact that silver was already going up, gold was already going up, that they'd already spoken. I'm in a bull trend, okay?
Sure.
What told you that silver was going to go ape? The spread broke out.
This really.
And it caught up. And now we have even more pent up technical and fundamental rationale to blow silver through the roof, to
Mm-hmm.
catch up to gold in a longer term perspective. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
go back into the bull trends, 79, 80, 2010, 11, the tail end of those, silver surged to 3.5% or more of the price of gold. Well, heck, we're 1.2. Ooh. All you
Mm-hmm.
do is match those and you put the number on it. Plus, gold's going to be going up the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, all these people will say, oh my gosh, gold and silver had a huge move. They got to get up. It could be a top or it's exhausted, etc. We're only fourfold increase in gold since its last bear low.
Right.
The two prior bull markets, 76 to 80, 2001, 2011, different time spans, eightfold moves.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Why is it overdone? And then when you look at silver, we ran some studies recently comparing, arguing for a quote, new reality. And the reality that's prevailed in silver for 50 years has been 50 down, 50 down, 50. You're stuck in a box. To the 70s, 1980s, 2000, they lived in a range, much like silver's lived in a range for 50 years. They were in a similar range. In 2005 and 6, copper broke out of that range, price range it had been in, into a new reality. And in getting to the new reality, it quadrupled in price in a couple quarters.
Wow. Really
Quadruple.
quick.
Okay. And now, since then, copper's lived in a new range that if you take the average of the last 10 years of price action or so in copper and compare it to that prior range, it's like 4 times the level of that range. Lead did the same thing, but in 2007. It lived in a range for multiple decades, broke through it in literally 2 quarters, quadrupled in price, and
Mm-hmm.
in his sense lived in a much higher zone of reality. How come silver's still stuck in the same zone of reality that prevailed in the 70s, the 80s? What's going on? Gold hasn't lived below the 1980 high, which was 850.
Mm-hmm.
It went to a 1900, then pulled back, then now it's 4,000. How come silver still contained below the 1980 high? Well, I mean, I'm not going to try to explain, but it's clear something's wrong.
Yeah.
And it could be that, the silver has been artificially suppressed by banks, perhaps motivated by the central bank, urging them to, and whatever the reason, it's not done what so many commodities have done. I
Mm-hmm.
can look at the price of bread, for example, okay? And
Right.
what's going on here? The point is that when they go to a new reality, they don't crawl their way up there.
Mm-hmm.
If they've made a mistake by staying low too long, when they break out, they say, it's over.
Yeah.
And they go to a new reality in a lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm.
And most people miss it.
Mm-hmm.
We're arguing that technically silver is now poised to go into a new reality. And
Wow.
I'm suggesting that once you break the silver gold spread out, at that point, count about 6 months, and I bet we're well over 100 and maybe 200 in that time span to go to a new reality.